So guys, before we even get started with this crap, I just wanted to address that there's this governor or some crap in Kentucky who made this Christmas card with his family, and this was, days after a mass shooting at a school. People are giving him a really hard time about this, which is making me rethink my Christmas video card that I made. Okay, guys, welcome to a new segment on the program, which is This Week in Pepino. Also, in honor of the new Beatles documentary that is out, I got a bunch of Yoko samples.
The most trusted name in news has now, at long last, suspended Chris Cuomo. While his brother was shipping COVID-positive elderly people back into nursing homes, killing all of them, and then suggesting that they had not died, or at least if they had died, they had not died inside nursing homes.
So he's right. The brothers Cuomo, these Cuomo guys, not good, no good, no good. And he's given him a really hard time about the kind of the disastrous COVID response and all this stuff. But at the same time, this dude, adamant Trump supporter. And just look at this headline. this is from February. U.S. could have averted 40% of the COVID deaths, says panel examining Trump's policies. He also has on his YouTube channel, the main video on his YouTube channel is this guy, Ron DeSantis, who's he does something in Florida, I don't know. He does this in Florida. We actually have a recording of his most recent press conference. The state has seen more than 60,000 deaths from the coronavirus, the third highest in the nation behind Texas and California. It has also had the third highest total number of COVID-19 cases, 3.6 million, again behind Texas and California. Florida is among the top 10 states in per capita death rates, among the top 10 in per capita death rates from COVID-19. This really is the whole thing that this guy does throughout all these videos we're going to look at. It's like, look at how bad this is. Yeah, but the stuff that you like is even worse. He's like, oh yeah, that's true. What are you going to do about it? I'm going to do one thing. This is sort of the recurring theme of these guys lately, Ben Shapiro and all these people, is like, look at this. This is bad. The mainstream media is bad. This is bad. That's bad. You know what we need? Worse. You know what we need solutions to these problems? Worse things.
It's pretty spectacular, I will say. It's pretty naked in its ambition. Well, now Chris Cuomo is on the outs at CNN. Why? Because presumably he has smeared the level of trust you once held in CNN. Now, let me just say this about my trust in CNN. Wait, you guys. Let me just say this about my trust in CNN. Wait, you guys thought that I trusted you guys?
So this is the new move with all these guys. What's the guy's name? Jimmy Dore, kind of Glenn Greenwald a little bit. A lot of these guys, they're like this and that, the mainstream media. The mainstream media is full of crap. It's full, which is true. Like, CNN is not a good source of understanding the world. But you understand that you started the Daily Wire advertising company, right?
Babies need their mothers, which is why two men shouldn't be allowed to adopt babies in the first place.
But you can't just overrun our border. While here in America, everyone knows what's going on in Texas. You've got thousands of people running through. Aren't we going to pay them $450,000 each? Isn't that a thing now if they get separated?
Mainstream establishment media is garbage, dudes. It's crap. So I think you know the solution. Find something that's somehow even worse. The problem with mainstream media is that it's not far right enough. They don't do this enough.
So it seems to me that there is only one way back into the good graces of CNN for Chris Cuomo. He has to masturbate on a Zoom call in front of his colleagues. That is the pathway back to glory, as we know from Jeffrey Toobin. So good news. I feel like Chris Cuomo doesn't have tons of limits on that sort of stuff. So you never know. You might see him back on.
I mean, this is true that these guys appear to be preverts, of course. But again, the dude that you are a big supporter of, why is this only going one way? That's what I don't understand. Does it have something to do with that your audience is doing this? If you look in the average Ben Shapiro comment section, this is basically what you'll see.
Now we have a brand new movie that is ready. It's ready to go. Our first original Daily Wire production, Shut-In. It's a seat-gripping thriller that will be available to stream early 2022. The film is super intense. Here is what that trailer sounds like.
No, stop! Please let me out!
I'm actually going to watch this movie. I'm pretty excited for the return of Vincent Gallo. Vincent Gallo, pretty good actor, I would say. No joke. Pretty good actor.
All right, where's the thing on this car? How do you put it in gear? Where's the thing?
Here.
What is this? Is this a shifter car? I cannot drive a shifter car, right? So we got a little situation here. I can't drive these kind of cars. What the fuck is going on?
But while I was watching this trailer, I was like, you know what a much better movie from the Daily Wire would be? We all of us Ben Shapiro fans want to see Benny in these movies. So the school one, we were all really excited to see him play the debate teacher who gets shoved in a locker by kids. I think the next Daily Wire movie should be a remake of Home Alone. Should be a remake of Home Alone, but Ben Shapiro plays Kevin McAllister. And the two burglars trying to get him are Vincent Gallo and Gina Carano. The two actors who have been relegated to the Daily Wire wood, I think they call it. But instead of setting traps, like a blowtorch on the head and micro machines on the floor, like Kevin McAllister did, Ben Shapiro will set debate traps. And he'll tell Vincent Gallo, he'll be like,
You just stepped into a logical fallacy. That's just a fallacy, what you just said.
and then they'll both drag him out into the snow and beat him mercilessly in the movie. And he'll go like this.
Well, it's been a source of massive controversy all over the world. How exactly did COVID-19 begin? The theory remains out there that it began at a wet market, or it was somehow obtained from just an animal in the wild. But the going theory these days, it started off as a quote-unquote fringe theory, and now it's basically well accepted as the mainstream theory, is that this actually began at the Wuhan Institute of Virology.
That's some very interesting language that you know is based in fact and research. When you say things like the going theory is, and it's basically well accepted as the mainstream. It's basically well accepted as the mainstream theory. It's basically well accepted as the mainstream theory. It's basically it's basically well accepted as the mainstream theory that babes can't get enough of me. They can't keep their eyes/hands off me. This is sort of a tough one because even a lot of people who I admire, not Benny Pepino types, this is just so burning across the media, this idea that we got more info. We got more info that this thing either leaked or was created in a lab. And there's just not evidence of that. And this came out a couple months ago. I guess this is what they want, right? They do this. About this thing coming from a lab, and so, okay, let's investigate it. So U.S. intelligence has started looking into it, and one of the first findings in this report from a couple months ago, or a month ago or something, is the infection was most likely caused by natural exposure to an animal infected with it or close progenitor virus, a virus that probably would be more than 99% similar to SARS-CoV-2. These analysts give weight to China's officials' lack of foreknowledge, the numerous vectors for natural exposure, and other factors. This is crazy, but I actually obtained, Glenn Greenwald style, I obtained a recording of the coronavirus bat. This is him in his cave. Listen to him. Man, poor bat. He just wants to fly around with his weird nose and ears. You know the way they look? It's not good. I would say it's not great, their general appearance. I guess when he says it's basically
accepted as the mainstream theory. It's basically accepted, but as
I guess this is what he means.
it's basically accepted as the mainstream theory by people who are susceptible to YouTube advertising.
The other thing, what is this? This is just from a couple days ago. He's really going off like a true king. It sounds like this. No, I'm just kidding. No more Yoko. Really going off on this. What would you call it? Abortions are not allowed in certain states anymore. Stuff. Overturning Roe versus Wade stuff. Really going off like an absolute king on this one. So let's check this out. Wow.
Malfeasance when it comes to the constitutional structure and the philosophy of the Constitution. Here's the line that I'm talking about. I keep pitching it because it's so bad. Here's what Anthony Kennedy wrote. These matters involving the most intimate and personal choices a person may make in a lifetime, choices central to personal dignity and autonomy, are central to the liberty protected by the 14th Amendment. At the heart of liberty is the right to define one's own concept of existence, of meaning, of the universe, of the mystery of human life. Beliefs about these matters could not define the attributes of personhood were they formed under compulsion of the state. Okay, well, so basically, either you're advocating for anarchy, which is not what Anthony Kennedy is doing, or you're using vague mumbo-jumbo philosophical crap in order to trump basic questions about the rights that, for example, unborn human beings hold, and whether you have the ability to kill an unborn child in the womb.
So I remember reading this case like a couple months ago when these people were talking about this, and it's kind of the way he reads. He's like going really quick, reading it really quick. But basically what they said in that case, which I think is correct, is they're like, look, we can't as a weird robed, shadowy, eyes wide shut entity called the Supreme Court, which probably shouldn't exist, right? We can't decide when life began. These are philosophical questions. When does life begin? Blah, blah, blah. This is true. That's a totally subjective philosophical question. When does life begin? I don't know. Usually when you hear this sound, this is a beautiful sound of life beginning. Oh, here, take out the baby, and the baby sounds like this. But they basically, they said a thing that I think is true, which is like, we can't make that decision. That's philosophical. When does life begin? Everybody has a different answer for that, and they're all correct or they're all wrong, whatever. So they were like, what we can focus on is the privacy stuff. And that's no. This would be forcing somebody to carry a child to term would be just like a little too much of an invasion of privacy, which I think is fairly obvious.
The idea that at the heart of liberty is the right to define your own concept of existence, of meaning, of the universe, of the mystery of human life. You're going to need some sort of limiting principle there. Because it turns out that if you're just saying that in your head you can define all those things, of course that's true. If you're saying that now manifests in action that affects the rest of the world, nope. Then some limits are going to have to be drawn.
So you mean the guy who's been that I've literally been getting barraged with ads that say, we're not going to comply with vaccine mandates because this gets in the way of my freedom. Now suddenly he's like, there needs to be limits to freedom. There needs to be limits to freedom. What about all the vaccine mandate stuff? That's against freedom. And both of these things are, and you're holding both of these thoughts in that cabeza of yours at the same time. Have a recording from the inside of, I'm not going to do it. No more. There it is, guys. That's my favorite one, that ow. So just to clarify, what we got going, these two ideas we are holding in our heads at the same time. Having a business, the federal government or whatever, telling businesses, hey, if you don't, to get tests, you have the option, you get tested every week or some crap. You get tested or you get the vaccine, so your coworkers, so you're not sitting in a cubicle and then right next to you, somebody's doing this. That is, we have to sue because that's just too much of an infringement of our freedom. But, federal government comes in and they say, oh, you're pregnant? Yeah, you have to The next 9 months, they do no freedom for you. No freedom for you. Sorry.
That is my own sperm.
Actually, the government comes up and they say,
That is my own sperm.
I know that I'm stating the obvious here, but it's a lot of views on a crazy person's YouTube channel. Mainstream, very advertises a lot, and
The leftist culture war against traditional masculinity continues to gain steam as China takes it.
that's true. Men today, they all sound like this. I can't stop. Men used to sound like this. Now they sound like this. Men used to say this.
Make pee-pee.
Now they say this.
How reality matters. And we are now using technology as sort of the all-purpose wonder drug. So we're creating entire artificial realities where we...
This is probably one of the weirder, troubling videos. Definitely one of the weirder videos where he just goes on for like, how many minutes? Like 13 minutes of him just monologuing about...
People don't accept reality. People don't accept reality anymore.
Which, I mean, there's truth to people don't live in reality. A lot of people don't live in reality anymore in lots of different ways. Absolutely true. But he takes it in a very odd direction that we'll see. But
we can live completely free of reality itself. Use the bottlenecking technologies at our disposal to prevent that sort of feedback loop from harming our interests and our narrative. So if
I mean, okay, but you mean like this?
But the going theory these days, it started off as a quote-unquote fringe theory, and now it's basically well accepted as the mainstream theory, is that this actually began at the Wuhan Institute of Virology.
The mainstream theory.
The bottom line is that this is part of a broad-scale trend in the West. People just don't want kids. And the reason people don't want kids is because they don't live in the real world.
So it was like 7 minutes of this.
Reality. People don't live in reality. They're not in the real reality. It's my reality. And then I went out broke the fourth wall. And then I went through the fifth wall I created.
7 minutes of Morpheusisms to get at...
People aren't having enough kids.
Your audience loves to hear that. Why not just skip all that other stuff?
He's like, I smoked weed for the first time. And I saw the seventh wall, and I went through it and up into it, and I blasted off the way Joe Rogan talks about with the DMT.
Just skip to the crap, buddy. Just skip all this stuff, get to the point. People aren't having enough kids. Okay, good. Why all that other crap?
So what is the incentive structure outside of the religious communities to have kids? And the answer is there is none, which means the only people who are going to be having kids are the people who are not engaged in this sort of solipsistic, self-obsessed navel-gazing. Where do I vacation with my small dog this week?
So again, this really doesn't fit. We're really not being consistent here because we could have an argument. There is something there. There's an interesting discussion and debate there about why are people not having kids? Are people not dutiful anymore? Are they not willing to make sacrifices to have a family and stuff like that? Are they too selfish, as he implies? But for the past 5 months or whatever it's been, but probably even longer, 6 months or 8, 9 months, he's been running ads telling, adult men who have kids, probably adult men, that, hey, you have no duty to protect yourself from dying against a totally preventable disease. A proud Ben Shapiro patriot. A proud fan of Ben Shapiro. He's so masculine. That's what I like the best about him, is he represents us masculine working folk when he's up there.
My name is Ben Shapiro.
When he's up there I happen to have a soundboard with me. When he's up there doing this, I'm like, that's true tough guy crap. So to Ben Shapiro, if you're not having a kid, you're not doing your duty, and he's disgusted by you because you're selfish. However, if you're one of those patriot dads who loves Ben Pepino and he got all the merchandise and Let's Go Brendan shirt and all this crap, No duty to get the vaccine. You probably have a couple kids, and if you die, they're not going to have a dad anymore. There's no scientific basis for this selfish decision you're making. That's fine for some reason. Oh, okay. So the abortion thing is interesting. I always kind of accepted the story, which I think there's some truth to, which is the Thomas Frank kind of story of like, well, this is a kind of a wedge issue that you could get like a socially conservative working class people on board with to kind of vote against their economic interests. That's the story that I understood. But there's another story. It's actually a pretty interesting article in Jacobon by someone named Jenny Brown. And I'll read you some of these quotes. It's kind of I think this is a good theory here. The fact that fewer people are willing to have children isn't surprising given the undermining of everything that makes working class life viable. But it does put the establishment in a bind. If they want to increase the birth rate voluntarily, they will have to put resources into universal health care, child care, paid parental leave, and livable wages and working hours. Naturally, they'd prefer to take away reproductive liberties. So those are the two options. Either, encourage people by making life better or just say it's illegal. Naturally, they'd prefer to take away reproductive liberties because it's a much cheaper way to boost the birth rate. Yikes. Jeez. That's really something. While around 70% of the U.S. public supports Roe v. Wade, I just call it v. Wade, there's big money behind the anti-abortion cause. The Texas restrictions and anti-abortion laws around the country have been pushed by the pro-business American Legislative Exchange Council and Koch brothers created PACs. They want babies produced cheaply with a maximum of unpaid labor and minimum of employer expenditure. To that, I say, when he started on that low birth rate stuff, something strikes the ear kind of weird about this one. So there you go. Pretty creepy stuff by Benny.
That is my own sperm.
Shapiro. And you know what? All that stuff made me think, you know what? I disagree with this guy. But then he said something, I'm like, and now I'm on board. Now I'm on board with whatever he's got to say. And he said it during this beautiful ad copy reading. Here we go.
Differences between men and women that are quite important. And then we'll talk about why it is that we are, as a society, failing. First, let's talk about the underwear that Grace took us right now. So, my magnificent tuchus is graced right now by Tommy John.
Tuchus is just, it's the best word that humans have ever devised in a human spoken language. Tuchus. If you're not Jewish, you should have to say tuchus. But if you are, you get to say you get to do the whole thing. So guys, thank you so much. And remember, Merry Christmas. You hear me coming down that chimney like this. Oh, if you're watching this on Monday, please don't forget to join the live stream. It is at 8 p.m. Central Standard Time on every Monday. Bye-bye. Hey guys, you're only getting a fraction of the weekly shows. If you want a new motherfucking episode every day, subscribe on Patreon for as little as 2 bones. You get the patron-only Tuesday and Thursday shows, the Bookablega show where we look at important books, and the goddamn weekly behind-the-scenes show. And for only 25 bones, you can become a producer and get your name up here. Look at these people. These people make this show possible. If it wasn't for them, nothing. We don't have a show. We got nothing, and it's garbage. And we have to just leave. We have to just basically walk away, and we don't even really know where we're walking. That's the truly troubling part about all this. But please, become a patron today for as little as 2 bones, or 5 bones is another level, or 10, or you go the full 25 and you get up here. Big special thanks to these people. Love you guys so much.